It's the thing that people since day one of DeerCast back in 2018 have been asking us for. There's no replacing the brain of a hunter. Run past this guy with a coyote scooped up underneath my arm.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Final Howl. And I'm excited for this week's episode. I have on a friend of mine, and I just have to say, just a dang good guy, Mr. Tim Kjellesvik from DeerCast. How you doing, Tim?
Zach, I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You'll have to watch the language. Starting out the show with a dang. Let's keep this PG. How about that?
Hey, we're pretty controversial around here, you know.
I can only imagine. I'm excited to be on. I think this is my first Predator-focused podcast.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah. I'm glad to be your first. So, anybody that listens to this knows how big of a fan I am of DeerCast. And I have found, or I'm sure many other people have, some pretty neat things in DeerCast that go good with predator hunting, as far as the wind features and everything else. And I had you on here just to kind of help, I guess, guide through stuff that maybe I've missed or whatever, and just there's always new stuff coming inside the app with DeerCast, and just kind of help familiarize people with it that may have not used it before.
Yeah, it's really good timing that we're talking now. We just launched DeerCast version 4.3 yesterday, which has some pretty sweet features in it that I think predator hunters are gonna find useful for your stands. So we have included, now there's a whole new look to the DeerCast forecast card. You've seen that over the summertime. That's not new. But we have a phase calendar in there that breaks down every month. You see, it's a monthly view, and you see what phase of the deer season you're in. But specifically for predator hunters, I know that moon phase and how much illumination you have overnight is important. And so you'll actually see graphical icons of the moon phases on each day of the month. And you can scroll out to, I don't know, like 6 or 7 months. So you can plan your hunt. You know when those full moons are coming. You can make your plans accordingly. So that's pretty cool. So the inclusion of the lunar phases in that calendar is pretty sweet. The other really neat thing are 3D maps. You and I have talked in the past about how predators will, especially coyotes, they'll run those ditches. Maybe you're, in an ag area and there's not a lot of topography, but they know where those depressions are. They know where those ditches and culverts are. So with 3D maps, you can really see what the terrain looks like. Even before getting to the property, you can almost literally fly through like Google Earth and see how the terrain lays out from different angles. You can spin it around. It's a really pretty experience. But I think it'll help guys get a better sense for maybe how predators are moving across the land, but then also where they might have the best vantage points for their stands.
That's correct. That's where I know I use that part quite a bit with the wind feature going into a coyote stand and understanding that these coyotes are going to work the wind to your call. And I try to push that a lot to a lot of guys it's not like deer hunting in the sense of you're thinking about your position, where you're standing, to where they're coming to the call, not you. So using that wind feature with everything you're talking about there, I think is such a diddly tool. Just for setup, you're hunting at night, everything's dark. If you're not quite familiar with the terrain, there's features in DeerCast that a lot of other apps don't have.
Yeah. I was going to say that the 3D map component is something that's brand spanking new to the app, and I'm excited to see how predator hunters really leverage that to see, what makes an app kind of work for everybody. Because most of us, like, I don't consider myself a predator hunter, but I've gone predator hunting and I've killed coyotes. I've shot at bobcats. Still haven't killed one yet. But most of us guys, we hunt a lot of different species. So it's nice to have one app that'll do a bunch of different things for you and not just have to have, one app for each specific pursuit. We'd all go broke.
Right. And I was just talking with JD Pyatt the other day, and we got talking about DeerCast and how I use it. And like so many other people, JD's sitting there and he's like, man, I use DeerCast to tell me when to go to, or to help tell me when to go to the deer stand. He goes, but I've never thought about using it for coyote hunting. And just walking through it and talking to him with it, like, it blew his mind. He was like, I never thought of using that for that, or the different angles you can use it. I think it's a game changer.
Yeah. Being able to drop waypoints on the map, based on the sign that you see. Like, there's all kinds of ways that you can use those waypoints, and even watching the weather, watching the barometer, watching wind speeds, all that kind of stuff. That's all relevant for predator hunters, I know. Right.
And I know there was something, I had Perry on last winter and we got talking about it, and I have noticed, and I've paid real close attention to this, especially.
You had Perry on before you had me on?
I did, unfortunately, Tim. I'm sorry.
The show's over.
It is. Well, my bad. So,
coming in second place, the parents button. Jeez.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. So, started noticing about how a lot of times when it shows yellow, and I know it's hard telling what's coming together in that algorithm to make it work. And since me and JD talked about that, and me and Perry talked about that, I've had multiple guys, commenting, well, it's this and this and this, whatever. But when it's in the yellow, and I don't know if it's the pressure, it's coming off a grate and it's dipping down, it seems like the coyotes are so much more vocal and more responsive.
Yeah.
Is that, I know you can't go into exactly what's behind that algorithm.
I got the schematics right here. You want to see?
Well, I mean, it'd be cool, but
there are over 13 factors at play in what generates the DeerCast algorithm. Many of those things you see in the hourly graphs. So wind speed, wind direction, barometer, the trending of the barometric pressure, the temperature, the departure from the average temperature, and then cloud cover, precipitation, and all those things. And this is where it gets, people think, well, it just runs out barometric pressure. It's simple. But all those things are weighted differently and interact differently based on the time of deer season. So, Mark and Terry kind of identified 13 different phases of the deer season. So each one of those, the algorithm is different because cloud cover in December in the Midwest is going to have a different effect on deer than cloud cover does in September during early season. And so, that's why I think sometimes people maybe oversimplify because they don't see the background of what's happening within DeerCast. But there's kind of a relativity to it. It's not just like A plus B equals C. There's 13 different variables in there, and they're all interrelated, and they're all interrelated differently based on the time of year.
Right. And I think that's what's hard. It's like on the predator side, kind of looking, seeing how well it does fit a little bit for what we're doing off for, not deer, but just knowing that it changes with the season, like you were saying. I think that's where I'm having a hard time when I'm looking at that hour, like putting my finger on it, because Like right now, it may be to where, okay, it's coyotes are calling good, but the pressure may be 30.5. And then, everything's lining up there. But in a month, when the pressures are 30.5 and it's saying, right, it's different. Like the weather's looking the same. So you're thinking like, oh, it should line up now, but it's not. So,
and it's changing throughout the day. Like I've heard people complain about this, but it's actually a sign of accuracy. They may see that they have a good rating for this afternoon, maybe it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and they see that they have a good summary for the afternoon, but then they get to the afternoon and suddenly they now have an okay. Or they may bump up to great. Like, well, heck, if I'd known it was great, I would have gone out if I was going deer hunting. Well, we're pulling in the latest weather information, and we all know those models change. And so literally DeerCast is pulling in the latest forecast and then reinterpreting all that data and giving you a summary. And you'll even see that if you're in the evening and you look back at maybe what the rating was for the morning rating may have changed. And that's because we've switched from forecasted data to actually providing you the actual data, the historical data of what happened that morning. So when you see those changes, some people think, oh, it's a magic 8-ball. That's why it's changing. Well, no, it's actually constantly updating weather information to give you the most accurate forecast possible.
I noticed that. I've noticed that in the past, how it changes. And I think in my head, like it's not a guaranteed, like an all. Like there's still some stuff you got to have a woodsmanship skill or whatever you're still hunting an animal. For an example, the buck I killed last year on DeerCast was giving me an okay, I think that morning when I looked at it. And just from what I seen with the weather, and there was a front, and I kept thinking like, man, why is this only saying like it should be showing better, I would think. And I think it was an hour. I'm sitting in the stand, and then I'm bored like anything else. I open up DeerCast, and an hour before, and then it switched to great an hour before I killed that deer. Now, is there anything to do with that? Right place, right time still. But I wondered if that's what it was, like because in the weather and everything was updating, and it's pulling that information. So I kind of looked at it as, and my gut was telling me I need to be in that stand no matter what this is telling me, just from previous information and doing everything a deer hunter loves to do.
Yeah.
And then seeing that change.
There's no replacing the brain of a hunter. That is your ultimate weapon. The mind of a hunter is the ultimate weapon. And DeerCast or trail cams or saw cameras or any technology we have, all that stuff just augments the native skills and experience that you as a hunter have honed over time. And so like you even had enough sense to know like, hey, this looks like it could be really good. Well, the DeerCast kind of fell in line with that and made sense. And that's partially why we added all the hourly graphs to show you all the data, because we don't just want to tell people like, hey, movement should be good, movement should be okay, movement should be slow. There are some people that just want that. Like they don't want to know details. Just tell me when to be in the stand. That's all I care about. But then there are people who really want to figure out what makes these animals tick. Like what you're doing, kind of reverse engineering the DeerCast algorithm for predators. You want to use it for your own purposes. The other thing that we've launched in DeerCast 4.3 is a feature called DeerCast Past. And so it's the thing that people since day one of DeerCast back in 2018 have been asking us for, but now we allow you to go back in time all the way to 2022 and pull up DeerCast forecasts for as many as 5 days. If you want to compare 5 days in that time range from yesterday back to any time during January 1st, 2022, you can do that. And then you see all the the summary ratings that we gave for the morning and the afternoon, and then all the individual, like the hourly data, barometric pressure, moon phase, temperature, all that stuff.
That's going to save a lot of screenshots.
A lot of people have been taking a lot of screenshots over time because they're wanting to correlate, like, what is really making deer move on my property? What are the factors that are getting them moving? And now you can do that with predator hunting too. If you had a really good night, maybe say back in November of 2024, you can go back now and you can see exactly what the conditions were like and maybe try to hunt those same conditions again this year.
Yeah, I really, really like that feature because I know I screenshot it almost daily. I will screenshot while my deer, because whether it's I've been out coyote hunting that night and I had one of the best nights. I might have got 10 coyotes that night. So I'll screenshot my DeerCast just to help me remember when I catch up on some sleep and I want to sit down and dive into it. I can go back and look and be like, okay, hey, at this exact hour it was doing this, or a buck shows up on my camera in a certain plot. I'll screenshot it so that way I can add that to the historical data of what possibly might be making him show up. So now by that feature, I really don't have to screenshot it every day.
You don't have to do that. Yep.
You're really doing some thinking over there.
DeerCast passed. that's been something that our users, it's crazy. And part of it is, I think they want to validate the accuracy of DeerCast, but the other big part is they just want to start making their own correlations for their own hunts. And we all have those days that kind of stand out. In my mind, I want to be in the woods that last week of October or those first 2 weeks of November. It's just, you gotta be out there. Nothing's gonna change that. But maybe you have a few days that are special, or you killed a really big buck, or we know that deer have similar annual patterns. If they live long enough, they're gonna typically have the similar home ranges and similar behaviors. And so you might be able to get ahead of a deer that you saw last year because you have a pattern for him now that you can go back and validate with DeerCast past.
Right. Yeah, that's an awesome feature. It really is. It adds to the tools of the toolbox. I mean, to me, that's the biggest part of what DeerCast is for me, is that just that tool in the toolbox to go through every day when I'm planning my nights out, of watching the wind change, everything, knowing spots. We'll have mapped out, I don't know, say 25 stands for the night. And you're starting at 7:00 in the PM. Well, I can go through and like, okay, the wind's going to change from a northwest to a straight north at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure these spots open up now so we can go there. So that way it just saves time in the truck, especially when you're tournament hunting, or when you're hunting for fun, that's one thing. But if it's a tournament style, you're trying to knock out as many stands through the night as you can. So
yep. Yeah, you got no time to mess around. And another feature that I don't know that people fully realize is in DeerCast, but you can get directions, like driving directions to your waypoints. If you drop a waypoint and then you open it up later on, in the bottom sheet that pops up, it'll allow you to open up your phone's default mapping app, and it'll route directions to that location.
I didn't know that either.
So especially if you're sharing waypoints with buddies or whatever, and you've never been there before, you can pretty easily get there from where you're, just using Google Maps or Apple Maps, depending on your device.
Yeah, that'd be super helpful, because we share between the three of us here. We share waypoints quite a bit, because when you're just out, somebody's out scouting. I hunt with the same 2 to 3 guys all the time. So somebody might have picked up a new property over here, and Brandon's like, hey, I scouted this out. I can, drop a pin. So yeah, he can send me that. I can just hit the direction and drive right to the spot.
Yeah, it's a little buried. So if you tap on the waypoint and then there's a 3 vertical dot on the upper right-hand side of that little bottom sheet that pops up, tap that and you'll see like edit, share, and directions. Just tap directions and it'll open up your default mapping app and take you right there.
Bustin' Fur Audio are professionally recorded live animal sounds created by JD Pyatt. The Final How is proud to be partnered up with BFA. All sound files are available in MP3 and WAV format, which makes them compatible with most major brand electronic collars. Go check them out, bustinfur.com. I haven't done it yet, but you can link your trail cameras inside DeerCast now through the Stealth Cam app, correct?
Yeah. If you are running a Muddy or a Stealth Cam cell camera, just go to the map page, click new map object, and if you scroll down the list, you'll see Command Pro, and then the Command Pro iris icon. If you tap that, it'll bring you to a login screen for your Command account. Log in there, and then it'll bring up your list of cameras, and you just select all the cameras that you want displayed on your map. And then you'll have kind of the best of both worlds. You have all your cell cams showing up now in your DeerCast maps, and you can even tap on the map icon on the map, or the camera icon on the map, and it'll pull up a bottom sheet with its location, with its name, the model, more importantly, the gallery. So you'll see a preview of all the latest pictures that are on that camera, and you can tap and see a larger view. And then if you want more detail, you want to change settings or something, you can just tap on go to Command from that bottom sheet, and it'll open up your Command Pro app where you can do any kind of further work on that camera or in that gallery that you want.
Yeah, that's a really neat feature. I haven't, well, honestly, I don't remember my password for my Stealth Cam Command app. When I went to go set it up the other day, it asked me for that password and I couldn't remember it. So after 2 tries, I was like, before I lock myself out, I'll just quit.
Then you contact Miranda, your system administrator, to help get you unlocked.
100%. You're right. Yes.
Honey, I'm stuck.
I don't know what to do.
Your hand in the peanut butter jar again?
Pretty much.
No, it's my Command app this time.
It happens. Happens to the best of us. I'm more hydraulic than electronic, but.
Yeah, right. Yeah. At least you've got skills, though.
Yeah, it's 50-50. It's up for debate.
But yeah, that Command integration is huge, especially for guys that run a lot of cameras. To see them, to see all your DeerCast waypoints integrated with your Command icons, it's really helpful data and really helpful intel to have.
Well, I know a lot of guys will do a lot of coyote scouting, even with trail cameras. Like I wouldn't say it's a popular thing as far as nobody really thinks about that but with the popularity of coyote hunting, a lot of guys are starting to, I don't know if it would work great, but you're starting to see a lot of people do it. Trying to pattern coyotes. Like, I don't do a lot of summertime hunting. So I think when they're family groups, that's what I've seen more of, guys trying to, when they're still packed up pretty good. So yeah. I could see where that would be a huge advantage.
So question for you, I have a frequent visitor Coyote on one of my trail cams, and he looks like he's got mange. He's got almost 0 hair on him. Do they recover from stuff like that, or is he just going to be naked till he dies?
From my understanding is they'll just basically be, there's no recovering from it. Like
that's a booger.
Yeah, they, especially from what I've been told, the more northern you go and the colder the climates, they just won't make it through winter. They'll just end up freezing to death. Yeah,
because I saw one that was almost hairless like last February. And I felt so bad for him. It's like, I can't imagine walking around on the woods. There was snow on the ground and being practically naked and having to survive out there. Brutal.
Is your coyote population like pretty dense where that coyote's at?
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. It's a lot of timber, but you hear them howling and barking all the time.
Because I know we've noticed in my area, and it's probably been over a year to 2 years. We've killed one or two with mange, to
Yep.
where 5 years ago it was nothing to kill a mangy one almost every night. And I don't know if it's because it's so popular around me now. Every field's got a guy with a thermal in it now, and I think our population has went down, which that can be argued
Okay.
either way. Some
Yeah.
people, I mean, you can never totally eradicate coyotes. I believe that, but I think you can put your thumb on them. And
Yeah.
I think by not being overpopulated, the mange has just kind of worked its way out, I guess. I don't
I can
know.
see that. I mean,
I'm
it's a pretty standard biological principle that you start having more animals than you have carrying capacity for, and suddenly disease instances of disease just increase just because it's so much easier to communicate.
right. And that's always been my argument too with people is, I mean, it's needed. I mean, the coyote, as far as, population control, like it not only helps out the fawns and turkeys and the birds, like we have so many more of our quail population starting to come back. And I accredit a lot of that to, I mean, keeping the thumb on and the raccoons, just
Those
everything.
graders. Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of turkeys, some of your viewers and listeners may or may not know that we launched on the stealth cam side. We launched a new feature called Live View. So you can now stream live video from your from some of your stealth cams, so like a Revolver Pro or a Deceptor or a Spectre 4K. You can literally just go in and request live video. The camera will turn on and it'll start streaming you high quality video back to your command app with audio. So the turkey tie-in here is, I think people will definitely use it for deer, especially if they're allowed to have mineral, or guys in Texas or in the South that maybe have bait sites will want to turn it on and watch the deer actually coming to those sites. But I was beta testing Live View this past spring, and I would turn it on about 6:15 in the morning and listen for turkeys gobbling. And I would do the same in the evening. So it was allowing me to roost birds remotely just by the sheer audio side of that feed that's coming through Live View. So the stuff that we're doing with cell cams and trail cameras in general, really, especially for those of us that, busy work life, busy family life, all the other things you're involved in, they just make your time a little more effective when you're actually out in the field.
Oh, that'd be, well, I run one here. Like I have a bait pile where, through hunting season, I kill a lot of does, whatever, and I do all my own processing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just take all the scraps, I throw it down there in a pile. I have a camera on it. So throughout the night or whenever it goes off, there's a coyote on the bait pile. There you go, gone.
Yeah. So you would turn on Live View at that point. You could see like what direction he came from, what direction he's going, and maybe you want to set up on him at some point.
Yeah, I could see where that would be. I mean, it'd be hard to tell, but like he's roosting turkeys, you might get, hear the coyotes howling, or like there's possibility. It's crazy. This technology thing, how far it's going with what you can do. Just, it's blowing my mind.
Well, another kind of scenario here, and this is on the turkey side. I was turkey hunting with my daughter. She's 13. We were going after her second bird this past year. She got hooked. She had a smash kill on her first bird. And it was like, okay, well, we can, keep going here. A few weeks later, and we had this bird. We could not pull over onto our side of the property. We're in this big clover plot that I'd put in a few years back. And I was like, well, maybe I'll float call and I had a revolver stealth cam in the center of that plot. So this bird is like, he's maybe 60 yards in the timber, gobbling his head off, kind of coming in and then drifting back and just doing the whole dance. So I peeled off down the ridge. Sophie's kind of on top of the ridge, and I turned on live view for that revolver, and I could watch her, and I could watch the logging road where this bird would have to come off and into the plot, and I could hear him. And I was calling down there, so I was kind of playing the hard to get hen, and I could keep an eye on Sophie, and I could keep an eye on where that bird was supposed to come through. He never ended up coming through. He hung up, but just to be able to monitor that situation and then record it like I was recording. So had he come through, had she killed, I would have had video right there from that revolver to go along with the hunt, which would have been a neat thing. But yeah, the possibilities are really endless. It's just we're kind of anymore just limited by our own imagination.
Yeah, it's seeming that way. Which, to stay on the topic of her turkey hunt this year, that was awesome. That video she had,
Thanks.
that was by far the coolest hunt I had seen this year anywhere. Like it was amazing. Like they were right up on her.
Super proud of her. Last I checked on the Drury Outdoors Facebook page, it was pushing 3 million views, which is great. Yeah, that was her first. It was funny the way that all worked. I was out in Nevada for work that week, and I flew back on Friday, and youth season started on Saturday. And I got back home, and I was like, "Hey, what do you say about?" Because normally, we film everything we do. It's like, what if and so usually we're in a blind. What if we go old school and hunt turkeys the way they're intended to be hunted, back up against the tree, shotgun on your knee, and eye to eye on the ground with them? And she was like, yeah, I really want to do that. She had killed a bird out of a blind with Zach and Gabby Plale on the Drury Outdoors team the year previous, and just had a great time doing that. But there's just something different about not having that cover of a blind, not having that kind of distinction between you and the bird. And so we went out to a property. It's where I killed a safe buck a few years ago. This turkey season, I've never heard more birds. I've never seen more birds in my life. It was just really good around us in Missouri. But the initial couple birds that were on the property kind of came up near the plot, but they would not commit. But all morning I'd been hearing a set of 3 gobblers just working their way from a distance. I don't know how many properties they crossed to get to us, but oh gosh, it was like 7:15 or something, and I catch them. We're in a timber, and I look over the neighbor's side. He's got just a big open field. They're running through the field. I was like, oh boy, get ready, babe. They're coming. And we were set up to where they were supposed to come in front of us. They had the Avian X's out, and I heard them hit the woods from behind me. And I've got my big camera, my XA50 up on a tripod kind of in my lap with the monitor out, but I've got a camouflage net over it. But it's still pretty, it's got the monitor, it's glowing. It's trained on her and the birds. It's kind of wide. And then she's probably 15 feet in front of me and to my left by herself with the 410. And she was wearing a set of Walker's razors with the omnidirectional mics in them. So she could hear me talking to her and kind of coaching her. But it's one of those things where you tell she's a teenager now, you tell your kids things and you wonder if they listen. She listened because before the hunt, I was like, it's different than being in a blind. You can't move. You blink. If you blink wrong, they're gone. So try to wait until, if they got their fans up, wait until their fans between you in their head so they can't see you. Um, and wait till they're spread out enough so you're not hitting any other birds. And but you want to just kind of move in one movement and shoot, because if you move, chances are they're gone. And she remembered all that stuff, and these birds walked in between her and myself. At one point, they were so close I could have reached out my arm and touched one of them. And I thought for sure they were going to bust because I was breathing so hard. This plume of vapors coming out of my face mask. They walked past her, and it's funny to hear her tell the story because she could hear them. But when I told her they were coming on your right, she got her left and right mixed up. And so she's looking to her left, and she's like, I hear them. They're got to be right here, but I don't see them. And her head goes straight. And I would give anything for a close-up of her face, because by the time her head goes straight on, they're kind of like level with her thigh and maybe at 8 or 10 feet walking. To me, anytime you'd hear an animal walking, it's magic. They're close, like, hey, they're in my sphere here. And she did exactly like I told her to. She waited until they turned with their backs and they were full strut, and she took one of them and just dropped them. Just a great shot. The wad bounced off this bird's head. She was shooting at the tungsten, and it just walloped that guy, and he falls over. She looks at me. The other two birds gobble, and she's like, "Can I kill another one?" I was like, "No, just one bird during youth season." She could have. They were just hanging out. I wondered what happened to Frank. But it was magic. I mean, as a dad, to sit there and watch your kid execute on all the things that you've taught and to try to instill in them, you're really proud. And at that point, it's like, I don't care if I kill another bird this season or the rest of my life. I really could live off that one morning in the woods, and the sun was just coming over the eastern horizon, pinks and oranges, and frosty morning. You see the water vapor just coming out of her mouth as she's breathing a sigh of relief. It was just, it was magical. But it's one of those things where that's why we go, right? You just never know what's going to happen. It could be, more than likely it's going to be a bust, or it's going to be a ho-hum kind of day, but you go for those magic moments, and that's definitely one that'll live on in my mind till the day I die.
Yeah, those moments are priceless. And for me, I love my predator hunting. I love deer hunting, but my true passion is our turkeys, and always will be. From the first time I heard the first one gobble, I was hooked. And
change your life.
It does. And I just, when I watched that, the look, her reaction, everything that happened, I just thought to myself, that right there was the most picture perfect. If you could paint a picture of a great turkey hunt, that was it. And nothing's better than getting them that close. I know Miranda we have our times in the turkey woods. When turkey season's over, she's about done with me for a while, but that's the way I love to do it. I have nothing against anybody on the blind or tactics. I don't care. As long as it's legal, do you, right?
Yeah.
Me personally, it's being on the ground, back against the tree, and how close can I get this thing? I want to feel the ground shaking when he's coming in, drumming and gobbling. Like, there's just no better feeling to me. And
yeah, as a kid, I mean, to feel that spit and drum, and that's what he did. When I cut that video, I cut it right where he kind of comes into frame at my location, and the first thing that lead bird does is, it's like, oh boy, here we go. And and having birds that close, is a blessing and a curse, because the pattern on that little 410 with that tungsten, I mean, it could have been a golf ball size, which means you gotta be on. There's no really room for error there. So yeah, man, that was it was a really it was a really neat hunt, and glad we caught it all. And what the other amazing thing to me is like just how pissy people can be, because 95% of the comments in the thread on Facebook were positive, but there's people like, oh, those are farm raised birds. If you blink around a bird down here, they're off in the next county. And imagine spending $300 on hearing protection while you're turkey hunting just to not hear the birds, and just stuff that's just factually inaccurate. It's like, a 13-year-old girl completely walloping a turkey at 10 yards. It doesn't get more pure than that. But it's amazing there are so many unhappy people out there. They just can't be like, hell yeah, or just move on and not say anything.
Right. I've never understood what makes somebody see something and stop just to, I got a lot of choice words for people like that, but like, why even take the time? Who like, especially like that. I mean, from, what I've known and kind of followed with Sophie's stories from her deer hunt and turkey, like that girl has put more time in before she killed her bird than a lot of grown men I know that couldn't even put the hours and time in that she has. And to have that experience and then a jerkwad come along just to,
it's amazing. She took it in stride. She liked reading the comments, and she really liked seeing how positive people were. And she did have a good sense of humor about the really bitter people. She was like, I bet they didn't punch a tag at all this season.
Right. And that's what a lot of it boils down to, but whatever, to each is their own. They want to do that, that's fine. But
it happened. It's hard to argue with results, and here we are. So next up is my son Bo. He's 8 years old, and Sophie killed her first buck also last year. So Bo can't be outdone by Sissy. He's got to make it happen also. So I got a full dance card this deer season.
So your Missouri deer season comes in the 15th of September here. So a week and a half.
Yeah, we're getting real close to it. And then the 16th, I think I leave for Nevada for a few days, and then come back. So early season around here is, you really got to have a deer pattern to make it worth going out. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I got a few good deer on camera, and that's all it takes to get my blood pumping. And knowing that the cameras right now, they're kind of telling part of the story. We all know that once October, you start getting closer to November, that's really when it's game time. And you never know what you'll see or what'll show up. So even though I run a lot of cameras, it's part of my job now. There's still an element of surprise. Heck, the buck I killed last fall, I had 0 pictures of him. I was hunting a buddy's piece, and I grunted him, and he came charging off the neighbor's property. So, none of this technology does the killing for you. You still got to be out there. You still got to make it happen.
Right. Does your youth season, when is the youth season? Does it come in like late September?
I need to figure that out. We have so many like little weekend seasons, like an early antlerless season, a CWD season, a youth season. Because most of our hunting is done with the crossbow, we're in arch. Most of the hunting I do with the kids is with the crossbow. We just pretty much start September 15th and roll through. So yeah, but we do need to do a lot of doe management this year. We have way too many does. So I do need to look into when those smaller youth seasons are and the antlerless only seasons, so we can go through and do some management. It's hard to manage them with a bow. You really got to manage deer with a gun. As much as I love to bow hunt, if you're just going out to balance the herd, you really got to take a gun.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. Indiana's, we're kind of behind the times on certain things, but we have a youth season that comes in the end of September before any of the, I guess, adult seasons or regular seasons come in. Okay. So it gives the kids a chance with a gun a couple days before October 1st when our archery season comes in. So that's why I was curious how your guys' season's lined up. But we also have a 2-week gun season, a 2-week muzzleloader season, like right towards the tail end of the rut. And then I'm kind of the same way. We got hit with EHD, so our doe to buck ratio was already out of whack, and now it's crazy. And we get depredation tags, but they don't give those out until July in the middle of summer. Yeah. And it's all over the board. It's crazy. I would love to talk to somebody, but I can't get anybody from our state that wants to talk about it. But
it's tough. There's a lot of stuff to balance within that also. But yeah, in Missouri, there's really nothing that opens. No deer seasons that open before archery. It's just September 15th. That's when the deer season officially starts in the state. So
yeah, and I've always looked like at the Missouri Department of Conservation has kind of led, in my opinion, a lot of things in the country. And I just think it's neat how different states work. And
we have a lot to be proud of in Missouri. In fact, they call it the Missouri model of conservation, the way we fund conservation, the way we have an apolitically appointed Department of Conservation. It's not run like a DNR. We still have a DNR, but the Missouri Department of Conservation oversees fish, forests, and wildlife. Like that's their main charter. So it is handled differently. And growing up in Illinois versus living my adult life in Missouri is just, we do a lot of things really well. Obviously there can be improvements, but on the whole, I really think Missouri is on the right track. And so proud to be from the Show Me State from that regard for sure.
Yeah, the DMAP program to me is amazing. Like they take the time and like, hey, they focus in. You know, we can give them more tags here. Yeah, and now. I mean, not to talk about it, but with the CWD and all of the bull crap behind that, and it just seems like, boy, they're kind of leading. I think a lot of people think there's missteps and whatever, but
yeah, I mean, you mentioned CWD, and immediately people go to their corners. And facts be damned. they know what's happening, and they know, it's amazing. My mind is open. I want to hear all the facts. Some things I do know that and I know this is not a whitetail podcast specifically, but habitat and herd management and all that kind of stuff is interesting, I think, to everybody. As whitetail hunters, we don't do a good job of managing our herds. Too many of us are waiting for the big buck, and we pass does that we really should be shooting. So, I would guess most of the listeners of your show are limited government type of people. They don't want Big Brother coming in and poking them around, pushing them around. This is an area where we can lead from the front as hunters. We don't have to wait for the government to give us permission or to set up special seasons. If you can buy a bunch of doe tags, do it and kill a bunch of friggin' does. If it makes sense for your area, you can manage your area based on, what the herd needs there. And I know around us, there are guys that belong to an urban bow hunting organization around the St. Louis area that I've heard from so many landowners that say, yeah, this guy, part of this organization, asked if I could hunt my property. He said he would take out does, but all he ever shoots are just big deer, and I never see him again. He just shoots big bucks. So, I mean, we all know guys that pass too many deer when they should be shooting does. there's too many programs like Share the Harvest and so many states that it is so okay. You don't want to process it. You don't want to deal with the mess. Whatever. That's fine. Donate it and be done with it. Help a family in need out. But this is an area where I think that we really could make an impact without waiting for a state agency to tell us what to do or how to do it. We just need to start killing more deer in most places.
Right. And that's like you were saying. I mean, I know this is a predator podcast, but, I feel that it's from the listeners and the feedback and everything I get is I started this to help people for the aspect of helping control predator population. Most predator hunters now, I mean, they're deer hunters, they're turkey hunters. The Midwestern guys, predators never been like it here, like it is out west. You talk to somebody from the Western states or the Southwest, they're predator hunters. That's what they are. They're nothing else. But the more Midwestern base, that's what we are. And that's why I don't mind talking about the deer hunting and the turkey hunting on here. It's that big circle. It's the full circle. We're all outdoorsmen. We all love the same thing. And to me, somebody's got to help change a lot of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is, the outlook on things, how it's perceived. Because it bugs me a lot. You see on a lot of predator forums and stuff, guys that they don't take the best photos. The light gets shined pretty bad on predator hunting, or deer hunting, turkey hunting. It's predator hunters have kind of not had a good name, and I think, so I just try to not everybody's like that, and the bad always gets the most attention in today's world.
Yeah, I killed my first black bear this past May with a bow, and I was surprised at how much crap I took for that. And that was on social media. They're big and cuddly looking and fuzzy, and so they just kind of, I guess, have people's affections as a result. But I was telling people where I was hunting is these things in the spring when they're coming out of their dens, they find a moose calf, they're going to consume that thing. There won't be a shred of that moose calf left. They will eat each other. They will eat bear cubs. They're ruthless. Yeah, they eat a lot of grass and they graze a lot, but if they're opportunists. So, and they are predators. They are apex predators in their environment. And they have to be managed just like any other resource. It's too late. We've already changed the landscape. You can't just let things go now. We have to actively manage the resource, and predators are a renewable resource, which is pretty amazing.
Right. And I've heard this multiple times. They always say that if an atomic bomb dropped, that there'd be coyotes and coyotes and cockroaches.
No, that's the coyotes and cockroaches get together. You have coyotes.
Coyotes, exactly. Yeah.
It's nightmare.
It is. It really is. But, you catch a lot of crap for killing coyotes. I mean, because they look like your house dog. They look like pets. And a lot of people.
Have you heard my frozen coyote story?
I think I have.
Okay.
You can go ahead and tell it, though. No, go ahead and tell it.
So it was years ago. I was out for a run. I'm a runner, and I don't know. I was on mile 6 of 8, and it was maybe 8 or 9 degrees out, super cold for the St. Louis area. Someone roadkilled a coyote on the frontage road I was on, and I'd been wanting to make a mountain man hat out of a coyote pelt for a few months. I was like, hey, he's got no holes in it. He's just frozen mid stride in the ditch, but I'll take him. So I like scooped him up under my arm, and I'm running back to my house, like carrying him like a football. And there's never anybody out, but like the bridge was out on this road. So there was no traffic on the part that I had just gotten to. And there was a guy out walking. And I'm like, how am I going to run past this guy with a coyote scooped up underneath my arm? And the only thing I could think to say was, as I passed him, was, this is normal. And I just kept running. So I have no idea what that guy, if he was taking pictures of me on my way past him or whatever. But I let him thaw it a little bit, skinned it, fleshed it, and then tanned the hide, and then cut it into the different components for a mountain man hat. So face on the front, tail on the back, legs hanging down. It was pretty badass. I was pretty happy with the way it turned out, especially for my first garment that I never made. By the way, I have a very understanding wife that allowed me to do all this.
Right.
But when you talk about public perception of predator hunting, it was still cold out, so a few weeks later I went to the grocery store, and it's just me in this aisle and a stalker lady that worked for the store. And I'm looking at the shelves, and I hear her say, "I could never do that." And I look around and I said, "Are you talking to me?" She's like, "I could never just kill an animal like that." And well, actually I didn't. And I was going to tell her this was roadkill. I was just laying on the side of but she was not interested in the facts. And she then just out of the blue says, "Can I touch it?" So we've gone from disdain to deep interest, like almost, I'm not sure you should be asking your patrons if you can touch them while they're in your store. But that, to me, that always illustrated like this initial disdain for the act of taking an animal's life, specifically a predator, but also like the instinctive fascination with it. Like, well, I want to feel what the pelt feels like. I'm sure she's never touched a coyote before. So I let her pat it, and it was an awkward exchange. I grabbed my jar of peanut butter and I left the aisle. And that's kind of where things stood. But as I wanted to be friendly, I wanted to be winsome, and I wanted to be accommodating so that maybe she has a more favorable view of hunters as a result. Even though I didn't kill it, wasn't hunting it, I just found it. But maybe that's a little stone in her shoe to make her think differently about predator hunting and hunters in general. I don't know. But I agree, we don't do ourselves any favors with the way that we sometimes post things online.
Yeah, and I've noticed that too. It seems like most people are open, but to be able to tell your side of the story, a lot of times it can't be done unless it's in a long type of format or something. A lot of people scroll through, they see that, and it's like, I'd like that lady, I'd never do that. But deep down, they're like, I don't know, man. Let me touch it. Like, it could be neat.
So that's the key going forward. Let people touch you.
That's a great shirt idea there. I'm a hunter. Touch me.
Final Howl podcast. Touch me.
Yeah. But that's something I've struggled with since I've started doing this, especially on the predator side. It seems like that hate, I guess you could say, I do get, or the people that have messaged me, some pretty gnarly stuff, but it's mainly just around the fact that you're killing. It's always the same comment. "Oh, it looks like my dog and you're out killing it." It looks like, it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that, but if nobody did, the diseases that come with that, or do you enjoy looking at that pheasant or that quail, or like,
Or do you know how well your dog will behave when he sees you come home with a dead coyote? That dog is he's gonna think twice about running away or eating food that he shouldn't eat. Like, he's gonna obey you because he knows what's up.
I never thought of that. Maybe that's why my dog behaves so well. It comes out here and sees him hanging on the walls like no, I don't want to be there.
Where have you been and why did you do that?
Oh, well, one thing I do want to bring up before I get off of here is I pulled my cameras, and this is back to trail cameras. I just wanted to let you know this is I run the Muddy, the 2.0s, I think.
Mitigator, Matrix.
Could be the Mitigator. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I don't know the name on there. I bought those 5 years ago, four years ago.
Who knows what?
Yeah, they might be I don't know. They were like, I think then they were like $100 a piece. They were some of the cheapest cell cameras.
Yeah.
I pulled those cameras last year. I just shut them off. First time I've left my cameras out. Usually I shut them off. I go get them, pull the batteries, everything. Last year I was busy doing everything else. I just canceled the subscription in January and they sat out there. Right?
Yep.
I pulled those cameras in June. 2 of them still were taking pictures. Still had battery life in them. And the other ones, I think they took pictures clear up and through March.
Okay.
But and I guess I didn't think of this or realize this. Just because you don't have a subscription, they still take pictures.
Yep, they're still saving to the SD card. Yep.
Right. Like, they're just not sending them to you. So, like, I pull all these and I didn't notice until I get back here and I open the door and I'm like, somebody's just flashing at me. It's like, it's taking pictures. I'm like, holy crap. So I take the batteries out, take the SD card, put it in the computer. I'm like, it's got pictures of me walking up to it. I'm like, holy crap, this thing's still taking pictures. But I just thought that was like, now I think you can buy these cameras for like, they're running some hellacious deals for like $40 or something.
It's crazy. I mean, we have 3-pack deals for like $150 for cell cams. It's really, I mean, and the long-term operating cost just comes from batteries and the cell data plans. But if it saves you a tank of gas, going to check SD cards, if it saves you intrusion on your properties, like there's a lot of savings that kind of come into having photos just immediately delivered to you.
Yeah. Now I just, to me, thought for a $50 cell, the picture quality's, I mean, it's a $50 cell camera. So it's not like, their models that are $200 do take a lot better pictures. Yeah. But I still know what it is when it's on a scrape. I see like, okay, it's a shooter, like, or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the look I'm looking for. Right. But the battery life off 8 AA batteries, man, they were lithiums, but still 8 lithium AA batteries. And they went 10 months and they were still taking pictures. Like, to me, that blew me away. I was just like, holy crap. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So there's a few things people can do to manage their power. In fact, right now, this time of year, I'm not hunting, so I don't need instant. In fact, I don't want instant notifications going. So to conserve battery and to keep myself from going nuts from notifications, I set my cameras to upload twice a day, once at 5 a.m., once at 5 p.m. And that's a very low power state. The camera can take pictures, it doesn't take much energy to take a picture and save it. What really takes the energy is the upload process, making the call out to the tower and making that connection and then starting to upload all the media. And doing that twice a day kind of keeps you from having a big glut of media to try to get up, which can take a lot of juice. So if you do it twice a day, it kind of breaks that up. It's probably the most power efficient way of getting your media without having to get it on an instantaneous basis. But that's also why a lot of our cameras, like a lot of our 2.0 cameras now, are shipping with 16 it takes 16 AA batteries. It's why I love adding solar packs to especially my cameras that are on my Illinois property. I can't get over there all the time. So all those cameras that are on my Illinois properties have solar packs, which are constantly renewing energy. Plus they have lithium rechargeable batteries in them. So it's a perfect setup. So yeah, that battery management, it's amazing how efficient they can be, especially if you dial in the settings to optimize that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, like I said, again, I'm still blown away by it.
Yeah. Glad you had a good experience with them, and they're still kicking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've run stealth cams for years and years. I mean, before the cell cameras, I've run a stealth cam. And then, when the cell cams came out, I was like anybody else when they first came out. I was like, I don't know, do I need that? Do I not need that? I don't know. And I was in at the store one day, and I think it was a 2-pack of those. They might have, or maybe it was single. I can't remember. Regardless, I just seen those muddies there, and I was like, I don't know, I'll buy them, see what this is about. They're stealth cam. I mean, so it's the same deal basically. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I've always had good look at my stealth cams, and those things are still, like I said, 5 years later. They're still performing.
There's a lot of good hardware on the market. There's a lot of good cell cams out there. But the other thing that makes the cell cam experience is the app that you use to manage those cell cams. And with the Command app and all the things that we are putting, there's some big stuff coming to Command like within the next few days. So and if you're in Muddy or if you're in a stealth cam, you get the benefit of the Command app environment. And man, I tell you what, like I would put our app up against any other cell cam management app out there in terms of picture quality, in terms of stability and getting your pictures, speed, the feature set in the maps and the features that we're about to launch right now. Like there's some cell cams where you have to pay to get high def photos. Right now with Stealth Cam and Muddy, you get 1080p photos by default. And then you can if you make the request, you can get 4K photos. It's the quality and the image resolution is just getting better and better. And some really neat tools there. The other thing I don't think people realize is they can filter their photos based on tags. Like if you've tagged a certain buck, you can go through and filter. I just want to see pictures of this particular buck. And with my photo tracker in Command, I can see all the stats like, oh, it looks like he shows up when there's a north wind. It looks like he shows up most when the wind's out of this direction and this temperature. And a lot of ways that you can kind of use to help dial in the metrics that is making that particular deer move. So we could talk forever about cell cam.
Oh, yeah.
Jack, but a
lot
of good stuff there.
I can be a nut with them now. Like that revolver, I love it. Like I got one down there on the plot, and that's just, there's so many things changing the game, which, I mean, I think maybe it just come out, or maybe this camera's been there, but the 180 or whatever Stealth's got.
Yeah. We got the trifecta.
Because that's what I used that revolver for that when I first got it, when I realized, oh, you can select the zones. I didn't. And then when I started messing around with it more, I'm like, this is perfect. Now I was thinking, man, why won't all cell cameras die? That's a great way to monitor trails. You back it against a tree, like I don't want to see what's happening. I want to,
right?
Because so many times, I think like most people, you've been sitting in the stand and you've watched deer go by the side of your trail camera, and it's like,
yeah,
how often does that happen that you don't know? Like, so with that trifecta or that revolver, you're getting them.
Yeah. With 100-foot detection radius, that's you'll miss a lot less for sure.
Yeah. All right, Tim, I've kept you long enough.
Happy to do it, man. Congrats on the podcast, and glad we finally got a chance to catch up and do this.
If anybody is, I guess, looking for you, how can they find you?
I'm probably the most active on Instagram, The Thinking Woodsman on Instagram. Or I also have a Facebook page called The Thinking Woodsman.
Awesome. Well, once again, I appreciate it, Tim. Thanks for your time. And everybody, go out, shoot your guns. Make sure you're shooting straight. See ya.